Heartwarming, Millionaire discovers incredible truth about his adopted daughter eating dog food. It was a regular Wednesday in Kansas City, but for Jack Thompson, the day quickly turned catastrophic. With the sun glimmering off the smooth granite countertops of his plush mansion, Jack, a millionaire entrepreneur, was buried under a mountain of wealth. Money flowed like water, yet what he really desired was out of reach. He had it all: prestige, luxury, and a sprawling estate, but none of it filled the emptiness inside him. All he truly wanted was to connect with his adopted daughter, Lily. But despite his efforts, their conversations felt forced, often leaving her lost in her own world, grappling with demons from her past that Jack struggled to understand. Then, one fateful afternoon, Jack ventured into the garage and froze. The sight shocked him to his core. There, on the cold floor, sat Lily, quietly munching on dog food. The open bag lay near, and the image struck Jack like a punch in the stomach. How did this happen? Confusion swirled, he felt embarrassment wash over him like icy water. Hours spent chasing wealth had blinded him to the real needs of his daughter. In that moment, Jack's heart ached for Lily, a little girl who had saved her allowance just to find something she considered secure to eat. Determined to prove his love, Jack orchestrated a lavish birthday party that week, believing grand gestures would fill the gap their strained relationship created. The grand hall was adorned with balloons, a towering cake, and catered delicacies from Kansas City's best chefs. But as guests laughed and celebrated, Jack's heart sank when he caught sight of Lily retreating into the shadows. Instead of delight, she wore a mask of discomfort, observing the crowd from the edges. Her small shoulders slumped, and Jack realized that his attempt at a display of love was drowning in superficiality. Just then, a pivotal moment cracked like thunder in his heart. Jack called Lily to sit with him in the quiet courtyard. He knelt on the grass, looking into her big, troubled eyes. "I'm sorry, Lily," he said, his voice shaky. "I thought the party would make you happy, but I was wrong." The truth fell like heavy stones. She wiped tears from her cheeks, and Jack could feel the strength of her fears. "It's not the party, Daddy. I just want you to notice me," she whispered, her voice barely audible, but heavy with meaning. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jack's heart raced as their vulnerabilities intertwined, his own insecurities about being a father stripped bare before this spirited child. Tears brimmed in both their eyes, and he could feel a flicker of hope igniting between them. Could it be possible? He had painted a wall of wealth around their lives, but perhaps there was a chance to dismantle it, to create a true family bond. However, as Jack stood to meet the uncertain future, a fierce realization dawned. Could he really rise above the expectations that society placed on him? Could he break down the barriers formed by years of neglect, discovering how to authentically love this girl who had suffered so much? With hope battling doubt, Jack looked at Lily and knew their journey was only just beginning. But would his courage be enough to break free from the shadows? As he faced this daunting question, the coming days promised a challenge unlike any he had ever faced, one where the values of heart would triumph over the pursuit of fortune. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink as Jack sat with Lily on the grass. The silence wrapped around them, but it felt comforting now. Jack could sense the weight of their unspoken words, a bridge that needed to be built between them. I don't want the parties," Lily whispered, breaking the quiet. Her fingers toyed with the blades of grass, searching for something in its simplicity that could heal them both. "I just want to hang out with you, Daddy. Like we used to." Jack's heart twisted in response. He remembered the days when they'd spend hours together, playing games or drawing on the living room floor. Back then, he had time. What had changed? The frantic hustle of his work life quickly enveloped him, turning enjoyable moments into distant memories. "I know I've been busy," Jack admitted, his voice steady, yet thick with regret. "But I want to change that. I want to be there for you, Lily. Can you forgive me?" She looked up, her eyes surprisingly bright. "You mean it?" "Absolutely," he replied, matching her gaze. "Let us start fresh. No more flashy parties, just us being us." Lily's smile breached the shadows that had lingered on her face, lifting him from despair. She nodded slowly, and the smile enveloped her features, softening the harsh lines of doubt that had formed. In that moment, he saw the little girl he had fallen in love with, the curious, spirited child whose laughter used to fill their home. "So, what do you want to do?" Jack asked, eagerly leaning forward. "Can we go to the park? You can push me on the swing," she chimed, giggling. The innocent joy in her voice rippled through Jack, melting away remnants of his worries. "Of course. Let us do it," he said, his excitement catching fire. They jumped to their feet, the tension dissipating with every step toward the door. As they entered the park, the world around them became a kaleidoscope of laughter, sunlight, and life. Jack pushed Lily on the swing, feeling a joy he hadn't experienced in years with each upward arc. He watched her hair dance in the wind, heard her delighted squeals, and noticed how free she looked. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about business deals or deadlines. He was in the moment, truly present, and it felt remarkable. After sundown, they settled on a park bench, catching their breath. Lily leaned against him, her tiny frame fitting perfectly against him. Jack felt a deep peace wash over him, the kind he thought only came from achieving professional success. But this was different, this was real. "Daddy," she murmured, her voice sleepy. "Promise me we'll do this more often. Just us." Jack nodded, gazing into the horizon, a sense of determination solidifying within. "I promise, Lily. It's time I make you a priority." But as they stood to leave, a familiar face emerged from the path. Christine, Lily's teacher from school. Surprise gripped Jack's heart as he noticed the worried expression on Christine's face. "Jack! I need to talk to you about Lily," she called out, her urgency slicing through the joyful haze. Jack's mind raced, his heart pounding. What could be troubling Lily's teacher? What news could change their newfound connection? As the distance closed between them, Jack braced for what lay ahead, knowing the bond between him and Lily was fragile yet fiercely hopeful. But what exactly did Christine want to reveal? Would it threaten the fragile peace they had just begun to build? Christine approached with a quickened pace, and Jack felt the weight of her presence settle heavily between them. There was an urgency in her step that made his stomach twist. "Jack, I'm glad I found you. It's important," she said, her voice low but insistent. Lily, still caught in the joy of the day, didn't notice the shift in atmosphere. She twirled around Jack, her laughter trailing off as she sensed the tension. "Miss Christine, what's wrong?" Taking a breath, Christine crouched down to Lily's level. "Honey, there's something we need to discuss." Her gentle tone radiated warmth, but Jack could see the shadow of concern behind her eyes. Jack stepped forward, desperation snapping at his heels. "What is it, Christine? Is Lily okay?" "Lily's doing well," but Christine hesitated. She glanced around as if the trees were listening, then locked her gaze with his. "I've noticed some changes in her. At school, she seems distracted, sometimes even withdrawn. It's as if she's not quite herself. I'm worried, Jack." Jack's heart sank. He thought back to the evening spent with work calls mulled over chocolate-smeared reports, moments he'd chosen to brush aside. Had he been that absent? Is there more?" he asked tentatively, dread coiling in his chest. "Yes. One thing that particularly concerns me is her lunch. This isn't easy to say, but..." Christine faltered, glancing down at the ground, as if she were gathering her courage. She sometimes brings dog food to school. I thought it was a joke at first, but it's not. What? Jack's heart raced. He felt a storm of emotions brewing: confusion, anger, disbelief. Why would she do that? I don't know, Jack. But it can't just be a coincidence. Kids talk, and I've heard whispers. I think she might be feeling neglected in ways that are manifesting through her food choices. Jack's thoughts swirled. Lily had been so excited about their day together. How could he reconcile that with the fact that she was bringing dog food to school? Lily. He called softly, motioning her over. She bounded back to him, her eyes sparkling, unaware of the heavy conversation swirling just above her head. Can you tell me what you've been bringing to lunch? He asked, trying to keep his tone light. Lily's brows furrowed, and her cheeks flushed. It's just, sometimes I don't eat all my food at home, so I thought it'd be okay. Jack's chest constricted. Lily, sweetie, you don't have to eat dog food. I want to ensure you have everything you need. You're so important to me. Christine watched, her face softening at the earnestness in Jack's voice. Lily's confused expression morphed into a frown as she stepped back, apprehensively glancing between them. But I like it. It doesn't matter, right? Feeling the gravity of his daughter's words, Jack realized the truth. Their relationship, while healing, was still fragile, holding unspoken fears and misunderstandings. He'd made promises but hadn't yet shown her what those promises meant. I'll do better, I promise, Jack said, his voice firm yet gentle. But you must promise me, too. Can you tell me when something isn't right? Just like with the dog food? I want to hear you, Lily. Her eyes widened as she processed what he said, and she nodded, the flicker of understanding brightening her face. As they stood there, Jack felt a tiny crack forming in both his heart and their relationship, both allowing light to seep in. No longer would he ignore the signs. But then Christine's voice cut through, much quieter this time. I think we need to talk more deeply about this at school, Jack. There are people who can help. What did she mean by that? A rush of anxiety coursed through him. Help with what? As uncertainty loomed larger than ever, Jack felt a chilling realization wash over him. What if his recovery wasn't just about parents and promises? What if something deeper was at risk? The shadows of doubt filled the space, leaving him to grapple with the startling possibility that their journey was only just beginning. What else had been hidden beneath the surface? Jack's heart pounded as he tried to process Christine's words. The feel of the warm breeze seemed to mock the cold knot of dread twisting in his gut. Lily's laughter had faded, replaced by a heavy silence that swirled around them like fog. What do you mean, help? He pressed, needing her to fill in the gaps, yet dreading whatever lay beyond. Christine hesitated, her eyes searching his. There are counselors and specialists at the school who can talk to Lily, help her express what she might be feeling. Sometimes kids need someone else to get through, you know. Jack nodded slowly, feeling the weight of those words crush down on him. His instincts screamed at him to protect Lily, to shield her from conversations that felt far too complex for a little girl. But she seems happy. We just had a great day together tonight, God, we were having a picnic. I thought things were getting better. Isn't that enough? Christine shifted her weight, a concerned frown etching deeper into her brow. You and she might think so, but these issues can linger beneath the surface. It's not just about the picnic, Jack. It's about what is sparking those choices. Why would she feel dog food is an option? That says something. Then I'll talk to her, he replied, desperation creeping into his voice. I'll talk to her every day if I need to. I just need to know how to help her. As Lily played a few feet away, swinging her stuffed bear into the air, Jack felt a wave of guilt wash over him. He'd envisioned a perfect life for her, filled with laughter and love, not this. He could barely keep back the tears but swallowed hard against the prickling emotion rising in his throat. She was only 7, caught in a storm of feelings he couldn't yet comprehend. And the thought that he hadn't noticed soon enough wrapped around his heart like a vice. Christine took a step closer, her voice softer. I know you want to help, Jack. That's a good start. But sometimes we take on too much. It's okay to ask for help too. Help, he murmured, the word lingering on his tongue. Why did it taste bitter? He had spent so long trying to do everything on his own, standing proud, feeling like he wasn't allowed to falter. What if they find out about my past? Is it going to ruin her? Your past has nothing to do with Lily, Christine insisted, eyes fierce with conviction. What matters is what you do for her now, how you learn and grow together. That's the only thing that can truly hurt her if you just let her be. Jack swallowed hard, staring at Lily as she giggled, swinging her stuffed bear from one side to another, blissfully unaware of the turmoil clawing inside him. I don't want her to feel lost, Christine, he said, the cracks in his voice evident now. I can't let her go through this alone, not like I did. Christine reached out and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, and Jack knew she understood. But it didn't take away the fear. Then take the first step. Let her be your guide, not the other way around. A dark cloud of uncertainty hung over him, the realization that while he thought he was doing right, he was possibly pushing the very being he loved into silence. And maybe he was too late. Just then, Lily darted back, her face painted with excitement. Dad, look! I can do a handstand. The innocence of her exclamation pierced through the tension and brought a smile, albeit a shaky one, to his face. That's amazing, sweetie. Show me. He encouraged, his heart slightly lifting. As she tumbled and landed on her feet in a triumphant pose, Jack felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they could get through this together, but where to start? Placing a reassuring hand on her head, he committed to take the plunge. Let's talk over dinner tonight, okay? We can have a burger. Your favorite. You can tell me everything. Lily's eyes sparkled with mischief. Can we get fries too? Of course, he chuckled. But in the back of his mind, the question still loomed, would burgers and fries be enough to bridge the emotional distance between father and daughter, or was there more he needed to uncover? The need for answers tugged at him, and as they walked home hand in hand, Jack clenched his jaw, filled with uncertainty. Because the deeper truth sat not just in what Lily chose to eat but in what she needed to feel whole again. Could he truly face what lay at the heart of it all? As they approached their little home, picturesque in the evening glow, Jack paused, taking a moment to inhale the sweet scent of blooming jasmine that lingered in the air. But instead of calming him, the fragrance felt like a reminder of the normality he feared was slipping away. He glanced down at Lily, her face alight with the thrill of impending fries and stories. He should be consumed by joy, yet the weight of his worries loomed large. Dinner had always been a cherished ritual. They'd sit at the small table, the soft sound of laughter mixing with the clinking of forks against plates. But tonight felt different. Tonight, he was about to pry open a door he worried would lead to darkness, revealing cracks he had, up until now, tried so hard to patch over. Dad, Lily chirped, breaking his reverie, can we have a picnic inside tonight? Just like our last one. Jack chuckled despite the tumult in his heart. You want to have a picnic inside? With burgers? That's an interesting twist. Yeah. I'll set up the blanket. The big one. He couldn't suppress his smile, watching her bounce away toward the living room. As she busied herself, Jack busied his mind, steeling himself for the conversation to come. What would he ask her? How could he approach the tastes and needs and fears she hadn't articulated? As he flipped patties on the stove, the sizzle filled the kitchen, competing with the ambient echoes of Lily humming a whimsical tune. He momentarily closed his eyes, picturing her in the years to come, imagining life beyond burgers and fries. Would she carry this heaviness with her? After a quick check on the burgers, he returned to find Lily sprawled on the floor, meticulously unfolding the big picnic blanket, arranging her stuffed animals around her like a royal court. "Hey, wanna help me invite everyone?" She giggled at him, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Sure." He sat beside her, his earlier resolve filling him as he pretended to be a bear amongst her other animals, and for a brief moment, he let himself forget. Yet, the laughter didn't fully erase the niggling doubt. "Okay, Miss Princess, what do we serve at this royal picnic?" Burgers." "Duh!" she exclaimed, as if it were the most obvious answer in the world. "Burgers it is." He motioned to the pan. "And fries." "Yay! Best picnic ever." Lily tossed a stuffed giraffe into the air, giggling. Jack's heart filled as he watched her carefree spirit but soon dipped again as he imagined the conversation hovering just at the edge of their fun. With dinner on the table, they settled on the blanket with plates in hand. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the surface warmth of the fries. It felt like the calm before a storm. "So, sweetheart," he began, trying to keep his tone light, "I was wondering, you know how much I love you, right?" "Of course. Like, 100 billion times." Lily grinned, shoving a fry into her mouth. He chuckled at her simplicity, but the moment felt heavy. "I love you too, and I just want you to know that you can tell me anything. No matter how silly or strange it is." Lily paused mid-chew, looking thoughtful. "Like how I thought dog food might be better." Jack's heart dropped. The casual way she mentioned it lodged a panic swelling in his chest. "Exactly, yes. If you ever feel weird or sad, I want you to tell me." "Why would I tell you?" she asked matter-of-factly, her innocent gaze piercing through him. "Because I want to help," Jack replied, his voice wavering. "Even if it's hard." Lily frowned slightly, tilting her head. "But I like it when we laugh. I don't want you to worry about weird things." There it was, the crux of the matter. "Sweetheart, if you're worried, then that means it's important. Sometimes sharing can help us laugh even more." As she took another fry, her focus drifted to the window, where dusk was slipping into night. Jack could see the wheels turning in her mind. "I guess," she began slowly, "I don't want to worry you either." Her voice trailed off, and the silence that followed felt like a thunderstorm brewing. Jack could see she was struggling, wanting to share yet holding back. And he was reminded of Christine's words. What if this conversation could crack open a door, not just for him, but for her too? Just then, the phone rang, snapping the moment. Jack's heart raced. He needed to know, could they truly navigate this together? Or would the familiar laughter of their evenings be shadowed by deeper issues they weren't ready to face? As he answered the call, he glanced back at Lily, catching her eye. It was time for answers. What awaited them, he could only wonder. Jack took a breath as he picked up the phone, his heart thumping louder than the sizzling sound from the kitchen. He could hear his own pulse in his ears, drowning out any chance of clarity. The caller was from Lily's school, Mrs. Carter, the guidance counselor. "Hello, Mr. Fletcher." "Yes, this is Jack. Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to discuss some concerns we've been noticing about Lily." A pit formed in Jack's stomach, squeezing tighter as he braced for the news. He glanced at Lily, who was now aimlessly spinning a fry on her plate, her eyes fleetingly catching the fading light outside. "Lily is such a bright child," Mrs. Carter continued, "but we've observed some changes in her behavior lately. She seems withdrawn at times, not quite herself." Jack's heart sank. Those heavy words weighed more than he thought they would. "Can you elaborate?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Sure, she's been less engaged in class and has mentioned some unusual things at lunch. Like the dog food comment you mentioned." He didn't want to admit it, but at that moment, it felt like a punch to the gut. "Is she in trouble? Is the school concerned?" No. Not at all." There was a warmth in Mrs. Carter's voice that was almost reassuring. "We just want to ensure she feels safe and happy. I think it might be helpful for you two to chat about what's on her mind. Jack wanted to agree, to say, sure, I'll talk to her. But instead, he felt lost. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, he replied, his voice strained. I'll definitely have a conversation with her tonight. After a few more pleasantries, he hung up, trouble swirling inside him. He hoped that whatever was bothering Lily could be easily fixed with a few comforting words or some extra hugs. But deep down, a creeping fear took root. What if there were deeper issues beneath the surface? He forced himself to focus on the picnic as he set the phone down. The couch was still decorated with animal royalty, and Lily remained blissfully unaware of his rising dread. He could hear the crackling of fries as he glanced back to see her pretending they were part of a grand feast, giggling with her plush companions. Everything okay? She asked, her innocent eyes quickly piercing his own. Yeah, he stammered, attempting to recover his warmth. Just some school stuff. Is it about the picnic? 'Cause it's going to be the best picnic ever. Absolutely, he replied, summoning a smile for her benefit. Best picnic ever. But inside, it felt like a ticking clock. This whole evening felt like a tightrope walk between normalcy and the gripping fear of the unknown. The night deepened outside, stars peeking through the dark, and just like that, Jack sensed that the warmth of their dinner might combat shadows lurking just beyond their little home. Lily, he started, his voice softer than before. You can always tell me what's going on. No matter how silly you think it is or how worried you might be. Her gaze flitted away again, contemplating his words, back to the fading light outside. But what if I don't know how? Jack's heart twisted. You just start talking. Just like you start telling me about your day at school. Or why giraffes like to wear crowns. His attempt at humor fell flat, the weight of anxiety still pressing hard. Taking a deep breath, he continued, sometimes it helps just to let it out, even if it feels strange. Lily fiddled with a fry, clearly aware that the conversation was shifting. Like how I feel weird about my friends. Exactly, he replied, desperately hoping this would lead them down a clearer path. Just like how we're doing here. I'm listening. Her eyes sparkled uncertainly. Okay, but what happens if I say something weird? Jack reached over and squeezed her hand, his earnest touch sending a signal of support. That's okay. Weird can be important too. Let's just explore it together. As silence wrapped around them, Jack's heart raced with a mix of hope and dread. Maybe this conversation would bring out something surprising, something that could heal. Or, maybe it could crack open a door to a world he wasn't ready to face. In that moment, he realized, they were on the edge of something big, an impending revelation swirling in the air. Could they brave it together, or would the fear continue to separate them? Just then, Lily took a deep breath, her little fingers mirroring his own nervousness. Okay, Dad, I think there is something I really need to tell you, and at that moment, with everything hanging in the balance, Jack felt the weight of uncertainty settle even deeper. What would Lily say? What truth would come tumbling out into their cozy little world? Jack held his breath, his heart hammering against his chest. Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. What is it, sweetheart? He urged gently, a mix of anxiety and anticipation curling in his stomach. Lily stared at her plate, the half-eaten fries becoming more interesting than ever. Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in, she finally said, her voice almost a whisper. Like I'm different from everyone. Jack's heart clenched. This child, his bright spark of light, felt out of place. Different how? He pressed, trying to keep the tremor out of his voice. Her eyes darted from the plate to his, the earnestness in his gaze pushing her to continue. Well, at lunch my friends talk about their favorite toys and shows, but I don't really care about them. And then the other day, I said I wanted to open a dog food restaurant, and they laughed at me. Yeah. I think that's a pretty creative idea. Jack said, hoping to ease her tension. What's wrong with wanting to serve dogs? She bit her lip, her brow wrinkling. But they don't think it's a real thing. They think I'm just being silly. His heart ached at the vulnerability in her voice. But you are being you, Lily, he said firmly. And that's the best thing you can be. It doesn't matter if it seems silly to them. What matters is that it's important to you. But I don't want to be different, she murmured, confusion lining her small face. What if I always feel like this? In that moment, Jack remembered the struggles he endured as a child. The times he felt he didn't belong, the weight of loneliness pressing down on him. He leaned closer, meeting her troubled gaze. Being different isn't bad, Lily. It's what makes you special. People who are brave enough to be themselves are the ones who change the world. As she absorbed his words, he could see a flicker of understanding in her eyes, but doubt still danced behind them. Do you think I'll ever fit in? Jack hesitated. You will, but it may take time. You'll find friends who appreciate you for who you are. And if they don't, then they aren't the right friends for you. Lily took a deep breath, still troubled. But what if I can't find them? Jack's voice steadied, a comforting warmth threading through their conversation. You will. I promise you. Just keep being you, and when the time is right, those friends will come. Her brow unfurled slightly, though uncertainty lingered. Okay. But what if I say something silly again? Jack chuckled, wrapping his fingers around hers. Silly is part of being human. And if anyone laughs, just remind them that every great idea starts with something silly. A small smile broke through her worry, and Jack felt a swell of pride. They were making progress, and yet, there was still something deeper bubbling beneath the surface. Dad? Yes. Why do you think I eat dog food? The question caught him entirely off guard. Jack felt his throat tighten, a rush of surprise lending him pause. Well I guess I didn't think about it deeply. You know it's for dogs, right? Lily nodded but looked thoughtful. That's what makes me different. I think it tastes good. Jack blinked, stunned. You like it? She nodded enthusiastically. Maybe I can try to make better dog food. Like pizza flavor. He chuckled, a mixture of disbelief and admiration washing over him. That's a pretty interesting idea. But then something deeper struck him. Could it be that Lily was desperately searching for acceptance, trying to stand out in her own way? As the realization settled in, a flurry of emotions churned inside him. They were navigating uncharted waters, her fears, his uncertainties. What would it take to bridge the gap between them completely? Lily, he asked, his voice low, are you okay with being different? A slow, small smile began to lift her face. I think so as long as you're with me. Jack felt a warmth spread through him. Always. I'll always be with you. With that simple promise, something shifted between them. It was as if the weight of uncertainty began to lift, if only a little. He realized then that this could be the beginning of a transformation. Not just for Lily, but for himself as well. Let us figure this out together, okay? Jack smiled, hoping to steady the storm swirling in both their hearts. Okay, Dad. And maybe we can even work on a dog food recipe. Her optimism lit up the room, and for a moment, the weight of their worries dimmed. Jack squeezed her hand tighter, feeling hope bubbling inside. Absolutely. We'll make it the best dog food ever. Yet, even as they laughed over the thought, a lingering question remained in the air. How would this affect Lily's place in school? Would their shared understanding keep her afloat, even as the waves of uncertainty rolled in? As the night grew denser, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they had only scratched the surface of deeper layers waiting to be uncovered. There was more to Lily's feelings, to her words, and he was determined to find out what else lay hidden behind that brave, little heart. What more could she reveal? The next morning broke with a golden light spilling through the curtains, casting warm rays across the breakfast table. Jack was already up, brewing a pot of coffee, the familiar sound of the percolator comforting him. As he poured a steaming cup, he could hear Lily's soft footsteps padding down the hallway. "Good morning, sunshine," he called, setting the cup down gently as she appeared, her hair tousled and her pajamas wrinkled. "Good morning, Dad," she mumbled, rubbing her eyes before a wide yawn escaped her lips. She shuffled toward the table, where a plate of pancakes awaited her. Jack smiled, watching her settle in. "I made your favorite," he said, flipping a pancake onto her plate. He knew how much she loved them, especially when he topped them with fresh strawberries and a drizzle of syrup. As she started to eat, a question popped into Jack's mind, the excitement from last night pouring through him again. "So, about that dog food recipe, do you want to brainstorm together after breakfast?" Lily paused, syrup on her chin as she looked up with big eyes. "Really? You mean it?" "Absolutely. I can't wait to see what ideas you have." Her face lit up with enthusiasm, the morning breeze bringing a fresh wave of energy into the room. Jack couldn't help but chuckle at her infectious excitement. Just then, the unease from last night felt lighter, almost fleeting. As they began their banter over breakfast, the laughter flowed. Lily shared her ideas about flavors, from peanut butter to banana. Jack listened intently, encouraging her creative spirit, when suddenly Dad. Lily's tone shifted, puncturing the bubble of fun. "Yeah. You think the kids at school will really like the dog food idea?" Jack felt his heart sink a little. He had hoped that their shared project would bolster her confidence, but the worry on her face told him she still needed reassurance. "Well, some kids might not understand it right away, but that's okay. It's a great idea. You know, creativity can be hard for some to see. But what if they laugh?" she whispered, looking down at her half-eaten pancake. "Then I want you to remember what we talked about yesterday. Your ideas matter. And there will always be those who may not get it. But keep being you, and in time, you'll find the right friends." He reached across the table, squeezing her hand. The sincerity in his voice seemed to wrap around her like a hug. "I just want to be normal, not different," she said, fighting back tears. "It's okay to feel that way, Lily. We all want to fit in." "But normal is overrated," Jack replied, trying to lift her spirits. "Would you want to be like everyone else? You'd miss out on being fabulously you." Lily let out a small laugh, the tension giving way for a moment. Yet, Jack sensed the deeper issue still lingering. What if school continued to be a battlefield for her self-esteem? After breakfast, they gathered their supplies to start sketching out ideas for the dog food project. Jack felt a surge of hope and purpose. Maybe this was more than just a fun activity. Maybe it was about empowering her to express herself. While they measured ingredients and debated flavor combinations, the doorbell rang, shattering the warm atmosphere of creativity. They exchanged curious glances before Lily suddenly perked up. "Do you think it's one of my friends?" Before Jack could respond, she raced to the door, her excitement palpable. He watched her arms wave as she opened the door, only to discover it was Greg, their neighbor from across the street. "Hey, Lily. Want to come play outside?" he shouted, his energy level barely contained. Jack felt a knot form in his stomach. This was the moment. Would Lily shy away from Greg's offer, fearing judgment? Lily hesitated, looking back at Jack. The hesitation was palpable. I'm kind of busy, but we'll be quick. And then you can come and show us your dog food thing later." Greg's cheerful grin seemed to pierce through her uncertainty. Jack's heart pounded as he saw her wrestle with the choice. Would she step out, tested in front of her peers? "Okay," she finally said, her voice just above a whisper. As Lily ran out to meet her friend, Jack felt a swell of pride mixed with dread. Did she mean it? Would she truly show her unique spark in front of others this time? Watching her bounding away, he couldn't shake an undercurrent of worry. Would the bravery she was starting to find be enough to navigate the world outside their little haven? And as Jack turned back inside, a thought struck, maybe this was just the beginning of Lily's journey. But what could this mean for the rest of her week? As a warmth flooded his chest, Jack wondered if the road ahead was about to carry more challenges than he ever anticipated. How would he help Lily tackle whatever came next? Jack watched as Lily dashed across the yard, her laughter mixing with Greg's exuberant calling. A tight knot of tension began to untwist in his stomach, replaced by a flicker of hope. Maybe this was at the moment she'd grasp the courage to take her creativity into the world. He could only stand at the door and watch, wishing the best for her. Time seemed to slip by as he tidied up the kitchen, his mind swirling. Every now and then, he'd glance out the window, marveling at how free and joyful Lily appeared. Each gleeful squeal infected him with warmth, but it wasn't tea without its shadows. Would she return more confident? Or would the weight of judgment loom over her like rain clouds? Deep down, Jack wanted to shield her from criticism. He wanted to make her anchor steady amid the tumultuous waves of growing up. But he also knew she needed to learn to swim. The perfect parent, if such a thing existed, would strike a balance between protection and letting go. He fidgeted with a spoon, contemplating the mission ahead. The dog food project soon became a canvas, broad enough to paint not just flavors, but self-acceptance. Yet here, standing alone, he wondered if their safe haven was enough preparation for the real world, a world that might eat away at that budding confidence. A loud cheer erupted outside, and he couldn't help but smile. Lily's laughter had a way of unraveling the knots in his heart. Curious, he moved closer to the window, peeking out once more. They were jumping around, playing tag under the gentle embrace of the sun. But then it happened. Lily stumbled, and he felt his breath catch. For a brief moment, he held his own heart in his hands, feeling as though it might implode. She fell but was quickly surrounded by her friend, both of them giggling. Relief flooded through him, and he resumed his space by the window, not ready to step in just yet. His mind drifted back to high school awkward moments, standing at the fringes while friendships bloomed. He remembered the pressures he faced and how being normal had often felt like suffocation. He wanted her to avoid those pitfalls, but how? The shrill of laughter drew him again. Lily had risen to her feet with a flare, shaking her head like a puppy. Greg cheered her on, and for a fleeting second, Jack saw how strong she really was, how quickly she recovered from a simple fall. Maybe it's not so bad after all, he murmured to himself, the corners of his mouth lifting. But as the sun started dipping lower in the sky, he felt a niggle of worry again. Would she share her new project with her friends, or would her insecurities hold her back? The question hung in the air, thick like honey, begging for resolution. Suddenly, the door swung open, and in raced Lily, her face flushed with excitement. "Dad! You should have seen it. I won the game." Her joy bubbled over as she continued to recount how she managed to tag Greg. "That's amazing, sweetheart," Jack replied, masking his earlier tensions with a smile. But she hadn't finished. "I told them about our idea," she blurted out, her eyes sparkling. "They're going to help me present it. They want to try it too." Jack's heart soared. He stood tall, pride swelling within him. "Really? That's fantastic." Yet beneath that joy simmered doubts of another kind. What if the kids reacted differently than she anticipated? What if Lily's boldness led her to face uncaring responses? As they started to gather their supplies again, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this day wasn't just another fun event. It was a gateway, a turning point in Lily's path, a test of her courage and creativity in a world that often silenced the unique. Would she really be ready to rise above challenges that lay ahead? With a deep breath, Jack prepared himself. Today was about courage, but tomorrow, they would face an unknown horizon together. Was this bravery enough to fight the doubts lurking within? The sun set behind the horizon, casting long shadows, and Jack knew the journey ahead was just beginning. What challenges awaited as Lily stepped into this new territory? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of purple and gold, Jack and Lily sat together in the cozy glow of their living room, surrounded by sketches and colorful art supplies. Excitement buzzed between them as they brainstormed the details of the dog food restaurant project. Each idea spun out like a new possibility, drawing them closer together in their shared enthusiasm. Okay, Dad. What about peanut butter and jelly-flavored kibble? Lily giggled, her eyes wide with creativity. Jack chuckled, pulling his face closer to the page. That's brilliant. But what if we add a side of crunchy bacon-flavored treats? Oh, yes. Lily clapped her hands. Dogs would love that. In that moment, everything felt light. The weight of the previous days began to lift, revealing a vibrant tapestry of future adventures ahead. Jack couldn't help but marvel at how much this simple project had transformed their dynamic. It had opened up discussions that were not just about dog food but about confidence, creativity, and connection. Suddenly, the doorbell rang again, disrupting their playful concentration. Jack exchanged a glance with Lily, a shared understanding passing between them. He opened the door to find Christine standing there, her expression friendly yet slightly serious. Jack. I wanted to check in on you both, she said, stepping inside, her eyes scanning the mixture of chaotic creativity sprawling across the dining table. Hi, Christine. We're just working on our dog food idea, Lily chimed, her voice bright and proud. Christine smiled, but Jack noticed a glimmer of concern in her eyes. That's wonderful. I heard from a couple of parents that Lily's been sharing some interesting ideas around school. Jack's heart sank slightly. What were they sharing? Had the lingering shadows of uncertainty crept into Lily's newfound confidence? I hope it's been received well. He asked tentatively. Christine nodded, then took a step closer to Lily, kneeling to meet her gaze. I think it's fantastic you're sharing your creativity. It takes courage to put yourself out there. Just remember, everyone might not get it right away, and that's okay. Jack held his breath. He couldn't help but worry about how Lily would handle potential judgment from her peers. He remembered the vulnerability that came with sharing parts of yourself, especially those that felt different. Miss Christine, Lily began, her small voice steady, do you think people will laugh at my restaurant idea? A silence wrapped around them, thick with anticipation. Jack felt his heart quicken, wanting to brace Lily just in case the world turned out to be like he feared. Christine smiled gently. Some might, just like we all face laughter at times. But what's important is that you believe in your idea. If it makes you happy, that's what matters the most. And the right friends will celebrate you quirks and all. Lily mulled over Christine's words, her brow furrowed as she weighed them like precious stones. I think I want to be different, she finally declared, her face lighting up. Even if they don't get it, I still want to try. Jack felt a swell of pride and relief. There it was, the sparkle of courage glinting in her young eyes. That's my girl, he said, pulling her into a warm embrace that ignited a sense of protection and love. Always embrace who you are. The conversation deepened, weaving through their hopes, fears, and the joy that came from expressing their true selves. Together, they began to build a new path, the kind of journey where they could openly share their dreams without fear of judgment. As Christine discussed options for sharing Lily's food project with her class, Jack realized that this was not just about dog food, it was about giving his daughter the tools to stand proud, to be unafraid of her uniqueness. In the coming weeks, they faced challenges together, moments where confidence was tested but never broken. Lily slowly learned to navigate friendships, finding kids who celebrated her creativity and ideas while others faded away into distant whispers of doubt. Jack remained her steadfast anchor, encouraging her to rise above uncertainty, to embrace both laughter and the silly ideas that made her who she was. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace after a long day of dog food testing with her friends, she turned to Jack, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, Dad, for believing in me, she said, leaning her head on his shoulder. Jack felt his heart swell with warmth, every fear dissipating into the light of her smile. Always, Lily. Never forget how special you are. And in that moment, Jack realized the truth. Every moment with her was a transformation, not just for her, but for him, too. They had learned to communicate openly, to venture into vulnerability together, and to embrace a fresh connection that would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. As the flames danced, casting flickering shadows on the walls, Jack felt peace wash over him. They had not only built a bond, they had created a home where love flourished, and where both of them could thrive in their differences. But as they faced the night, Jack knew this journey was just beginning. He was ready to face the world with Lily, holding on to hope, bravery, and the countless adventures still waiting for them. Now, what about you? If you think Lily's journey is inspiring, you need to subscribe right now. Don't miss out on the next exciting stories as we continue to explore transformations of the heart. Leave a like now so you can help this channel continue to uplift tales that matter. Comment below your thoughts on this touching ending and share how it resonated with you. And for the love of positivity, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting our storytelling journey.